2 years before and are like, oh my God, I can't get this. But apply. I always say that your best at the moment is better than what you're still trying to make better that stops you from applying. So different applications and processes are different for the UK because there are different kinds of scholarship. If you're applying for a university scholarship, some of them require you to just write your personal statement and they consider you based on your personal statement. While there are others that want you to fill a different application. For scholarships like Chevening, they might require you to apply to the university separately and then apply for the scholarship differently. So there are different application processes, but the point is you're going to write essays, you're going to apply to universities, and you might do interviews. And then application tips as well. I think you should share stories. I shared a lot of stories in mine. Also be consistent. Don't let your personal statement say that you're passionate about science. Your referees are saying that you're passionate about engineering. Then maybe your form, you're saying you're passionate about agriculture. Like, let every single aspect of your application be consistent. I think that's one thing that helped me. Like, every single part of my application, you know exactly this is what this girl is passionate about. Also, it's not automatic, guys. Like, some people get it in their first try, some get it in their second try, some get it in their fourth try. But just ensure that you put in the work, and do not be discouraged. Now, I'll just run briefly. This is my second to my last slide. The UK admissions process. So the basic documents you need is passport, transcript, personal statement, English test, references. Some courses require you to bring a portfolio. So whether it's design, creative writing, you just need to be sure of the course. Now, once you have your documents, you just have to fill out the application form on the university website, whether online or via email. Some courses require interviews and then English tests. So one tip is that a lot of universities in the UK allow you to get admission with your WAEC certificate. So if you don't have the funds for IELTS, consider WAEC certificate. That's very important as well. Now, after you apply, the next step is either you get rejected or you get a conditional offer or an unconditional offer. Conditional based on maybe you don't have your English test, funding, different things. Unconditional is if you fulfilled all the options. And then the visa is pretty straightforward as long as you don't fill the wrong details or lie. Please do not lie or fill the wrong details. People have gotten 10 years ban, life ban because of lies. But UK visa, typically TB test, CAS, you pay the health charges, you show your proof of fund, and then use your passport. All of the information is on the UK visa website, so I will not go into that too much. Now, finally, I was asked to share some scholarships for you guys, so you could take a screenshot. These are possible scholarships you can apply. A lot of them are in the UK, but they're in different countries. So we have government scholarships here, and we have organization-based scholarships. And one tip, guys, a lot of universities All right, guys. I hope that I've been able to through the UK application process and my journey, and I'm looking forward to answering questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Lotana, are you ready?
Oh, I said I didn't have any slides, and Karen luckily for me, Karen already addressed everything US. So I was just saying, like, once Faith is done with addressing the UK, then we can just go on to the questions.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, so back to my questions. Please, panelists, feel free to paint scenarios if you have to, because we're here not just to answer the questions, but to, have a better understanding of the questions, right? Okay, so back to my question. My number one question. Karen, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Sorry, thanks for waiting. Okay, so back to our question. And the first one says, does one need to consider some factors like possibility of getting a visa, a scholarship, or other factors in the choice of school and course? Please help us digest this.
Yes. You have to consider, your possibilities before you have to consider your possibilities, basically. When I was applying for grad school, I was applying with the mindset that, Karen, you deserve free quality education, right? You should not pay to go to grad school. That was my mindset. So I actually was not location specific. So I applied to the UK, I applied to the US, and I applied to schools in Canada, and eventually chose the UK. So, well, acquiring visa wasn't a top priority in deciding the school I was going to go to, but the kind of funding availability and the process, I'll say, was a requirement. So the first year when I wanted to start applying for grad school, I decided to apply to UK schools first, because I know that you can decide to apply to a UK school in 3 months, and in less than 3 months you finish all of your processes. So I first started with the UK schools, but eventually there was stalling with PTDF, which later came when I had come to the US and all of that. The US takes a longer time to the process is a longer process, like you see at the requirements I've listed out. Aside from the standard CV, passport, SOP, you also have to write some standardized tests. Like I said, you have to take out time to email professors, and the SOP for the US schools and UK schools are not even the same. For UK schools, it can be like a 500 word SOP, but for like US schools, you have to go and dig up all your accomplishments and add it in that SOP. So it's a more tasking process, and I wasn't sure I was ready for it when I wanted to start. So for me, I'll not say visa consideration. I'll feel the process was first of all, and the opportunities available were my foremost consideration. When I had decided, okay, let's give this a shot, because you have to take out time to study for some of these exams. People study for as long as 3 months to write GRE exam. When I was sure that, okay, I was mentally in the headspace to study, because I had been working for a couple of years, I wasn't sure if I was ready to take pen and paper and start solving addition and subtraction again. So, but that was what influenced my decision, and I think that's what should influence any other person's decision. The fact that you're coming for this scholarship firm means that you believe there is a scholarship out there, like Faith has said, for you. Now it's not like the scholarship will come and say, oh, hello, I'm here for you, will you have me? No, you have to actually explore a lot of options and then decide, okay, this is the one I want. Some people might be lucky at the end, you might have different options to choose from. Some people might be unlucky, you have just one option and that's it. However, you have to create some of these opportunities, for yourself. I'll say don't streamline yourself to say, oh, I must go here, or this must be the one for me. I'll say one of my mentors, OG, the African regional director, she said there's nothing like attempt some questions. When you write an exam, they will say out of 4 questions, no, answer all, shoot all your shots. So don't allow visa or the process limit you. If you decided you want to do something, do your research. Like Faith has mentioned, watch a lot of YouTube videos, they help a lot. And then, dig into it, just dive into it head first and go for it. And trust me, there is a school out there for everybody. There is a scholarship out there for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Karen. And well, I know I've known Karen for years, and I'm a testament of what she's saying. So I know she actually did what she said. Okay, thank you, Karen. The next question is about SOP. So what are the things to emphasize when writing your SOP statement? Faith, can you help us with this? Karen touched a little bit on it. Just, explain more, expatiate it some more. Faith, are you there?
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about the SOP from the UK perspective. Obviously, I did not apply to the US, and Karen talked about the fact that it's different, but I still feel like there might be some overlaps. I feel like what they really want to know in an SOP is why do you want to study the course? How has your background or your experiences prepared you for the course? What do you want to learn on the course, and how can the course connect you to your future goals? And then what are your future goals? And then why is the school the best place for you? So typically in my SOPs, I usually like to start with the background. So for example, when I wanted to study an MSc in creative enterprise, the first part of my SOP was talking about my background. So the fact that I've been running a creative business, the different things I've been doing, I try to throw in some accolades so that they can want me, you know, and I talk about the gaps. So yes, I've been doing this, but I feel like I need more information. I need to learn more. And I believe that this course at this school can give me this. And then I zoomed in on the course modules, because many people just say, oh, this course is going to help me, but they don't show the school a direct connection. So what specific course modules does the school have that can help you? So I mentioned course modules, like they had some course modules on tech. I connected it to some of my career goals. They have course modules on building businesses. Basically, I use the course modules as examples of how I think the course can help me. Beyond the course modules as well, I talked about the university. Many people just say they have good libraries, university is highly ranked, but think beyond that. What structures does the university have? Do they have like societies? My school, for example, had a hub for creatives. Talk about the things that, because everybody will just say the school is nice, the school is highly ranked, but show them that you really dig deeper into the school. So what non-academic benefits does the school offer you as well? And then tie it into your future goals. So after the course, what exactly do you want to do? The thing is, most schools want students that they will be proud of. So they want to see that this person 5 years, 10 years from now, they have big dreams and goals. So show them how, because these are the big ideas and dreams and goals that you have. And that's what I have used, and a couple of people have used. So the key thing is, what is your background? How has it prepared you for the course? How are the course modules going to prepare you? And then what are your dreams and goals? I also forgot to mention, you can also talk about like educational preparation. So let's say your undergraduate degree is related. What courses in your undergraduate degree have prepared you for that course? Have you done any publications, any research work, any relevant thing that shows that you can get the course as well? That's also important. And then if your first degree is not related to the SOP, try to focus on your experiences and show them that you've been working in that industry, and so you're kind of prepared as well. Or if you can find something related in your first degree, maybe a module 1 or 2 that you can use to connect to the course, that can also help you as well. So yeah.
Thank you, Faith. Karen, would you want to add something to what she has said? You know, so Faith is coming from, you know, the arts background. Can you help us with the science background of it? So that
she pretty much you know, that's basically what you want to put in your SOP. What I'll add is that you know, whether science or arts, right, your SOP is your brand. It's what's going to sell you. Whoever is admitting you doesn't know they're good, especially for the US schools where they won't ask you to write essays. You know, if they ask you to write essays, you can express yourself in those essays, but somebody is going to give you full funding, and the only thing they have aside of your academic record is your statement of purpose. So your statement of purpose has to be able to sell you. It has to be your brand. Nothing you think you have done is irrelevant, but like Faith said, everything on yours, every sentence on your SOP should have a relevance to your goal. Now, another thing I would like to add, aside from your research and your work experience, of course, your academic fit and your academic background, is your volunteering experience, right? In the US, it's a big deal that you have volunteer. I mean, everywhere it's a big deal, because like even for like Chevening and all of that, you have to show that, you know, you have volunteered. You have to show that aside from knowing book, I have something more to give, because everybody that's applying knows book, right? That is why they want to do their master's. You have to show them that, okay, aside from these places, these are other places that I excel at. And like Faith has said, you have to know your strengths, right? If you're somebody that you don't have a publication yet, but you graduated with a first class, oh my God, milk it. I was the best student. I in the 10th percentile of my class. I want top one, milk it, because that is your strength. If you know that academically you are not as sound, but you've done other things, you volunteered a lot, or you maybe have taken other exams, or you have you know, other creative things going for you. You maybe have a YouTube channel. Milk it. Now, if you have all of this working for you, you're part of some of those outstanding people that you're good academically and you still have time to volunteer, please milk it. I had like a whole paragraph on SPE on my SOP, because come on, you have to tell people, okay, this is what you have done. It's not just your good results. And if you don't have any volunteering opportunities, SPE is a great platform. I cannot stop blowing the trumpet because I finished with SPE Lagos, I came to Oklahoma, and now I've joined SPE here. SPE is a great platform, and it's not just for STEM-based majors. Please, if you're in final year, you're about graduating, consider this platform. NICE is coming up. Try to work on publications. Your final year project, don't dump it on the shelf. Bring it out. Try to make some use of it. Volunteer. I cannot even stop saying it. Volunteer, volunteer, volunteer. And please include it in your SOP. Because for UK schools, your SOP is like 500 words. Faith, am I right? It's like 500 words normally, or they'll say 1 page. In US, you have to write 2 full pages. Greater than 1 page, less than 2 pages. What do you want to be writing about yourself? Please volunteer, 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 and add it on your SOP. I think that's the addition I'll have. Thank you.
Okay, I'm loving this. Karen, thank you. So you've heard it, right? Volunteer, volunteer, volunteer. Okay, so we have a PhD person with us in the name of Lutana. Lutana, please, can you give us your own PhD side of SOP? Because I'm sure we have PhD applicants here, future applicants here. Please, can you tell us, what's obtainable in a standard SOP? Thank you, Karen and Faith. Lutana, please, let's hear from you. For SOP.
When you say PhD like this, it just tensions me. Well, so again, your SOP will be customized to several things, kind of like how Karen and Faith had said. Now, at PhD level, there's a stronger focus on your ability to do research, right? Your ability to do research. So while you're writing about all of your accomplishments as well, you want to like connect your life stories, your volunteerings, your prior education, and the work you did in your prior education to how you'll be able to work on on specific research areas. Now, it will be different if, for instance, you already have a professor that has said, oh yeah, I'd like to work with you. For certain schools, once a professor has given you those kind of responses, they would actually want you to talk about like 1 or 2 of those professors in your SOP. Okay. Alternatively, you can really just write about your ability to do research or something. So when I wrote mine, for instance, after my bachelor's, while I was waiting for NYC, I had spent about 6 months plus working with a lecturer in school. I mean, I didn't have an official title, but that's literally what research assistants do, and within that period, I had worked on getting like a couple of papers, helped him to supervise a couple of undergraduate projects, helped him to do like several things. So these were all the things that I kind of put together to show that, okay, hey, I've done research, like I know what it entails. I can do it. I can deliver it. And this is how much I've delivered already based on what I did as an undergraduate. So this is really like, I think that would be like the one added thing that you're gonna include for a typical PhD SOP. And again, in the end, like you do want to, I think the name of the document itself kind of gives you a clue to what they want. They want to know what's your sense of purpose, like what's your purpose in life, what's your purpose for pursuing this degree, and everything about you have to find a way to link it to this. And it's not finding a way as per, this study will change my life and this one, good, fine, yeah, but which aspect of your life is it going to change? Is it that I intend to become a professor, I intend to open a company, I intend to do this or that, I intend to become an ascending reservoir engineer or something like that, and this study is going to be something that will take me in line to that. Why? Because University of Oklahoma has all of these outstanding professors in this area. For instance, this particular professor has been researching on is researching on a pulse-scale motor to flow simulation. In my undergraduate, I did a couple of work on continuum scale these things. I got 2-3 papers, and then I collaborated with a particular professor to even help supervise other undergraduates. And in the end, this is what we achieved. So, but while I was doing all that, I had questions about what could happen at this level or this. So seeing that as a professor already working, like I've basically just connected some experience I had as an undergraduate to what a professor is working on in the department, kind of showing that I have a purpose, I have something that's driving me to apply to this school. whether or not it's true is between you and God. But you really just have to connect all of your experiences. You need to find a way to fine-tune all of your experiences and connect it to, to what you're applying for, why you're applying to that school in particular. So that for me would be like the major thing when it comes to applying as a PhD.
Thank you very much, Lutana. I've gone through the charts. I'm seeing how can one register with the platform SPE. Don't worry, we're getting to that. Today is for you. Just chill. Let's hear from these amazing speakers first, then we can go to the necessary stuff. Don't worry, just relax and stay tuned. Okay, so to the next question, Lutana, thank you for that explanation. So the next question is, how can one secure a graduate research role? So I know Karen is one, Lutana is one as well. Maybe I'll start with Karen. So Karen, how were you able to secure your graduate assistantship role? Although I know, I don't know, but I feel this shouldn't be the question because this comes after you've gotten your admission, right? Or probably before you get admission. Karen, please, let's hear from
It's
you.
relative. It's relative. So I got my graduate assistantship after I had gotten my admission. But I know somebody that has gotten, in short, or let me take for instance, my friend Patience, she had gotten her assistantship and funding, and because she had gotten it, they then pushed the graduate school to give her admission. So in the US, right, the graduate school has to give you admission and the department has to give you admission. Now, the graduate school gives you admission based on this school, these are our standards. As a student, you have to meet those standards. If not, we don't accept you, right? Now, I think for my school, the GRE requirement for a graduate student is 300, right? But for my department, the GRE requirement is a 309, right? You have to meet that minimum before the department gives you funding. So like you have to consider those two things. Now, most times I'll tell people, right, the first step to graduate school applications, scholarship applications, in the US, like Faith has said, in the UK, rather, they're independent. You can apply to the school separately and then you apply to scholarship separately. But in the US, if you're going through the funding-based option where you want to get, I explained all of this at the beginning, just so you understand the lingua I'm going to be using. Where you want to get assistantship, you have to understand that you have to stand out, like you have to sell yourself out from the get-go. Now, the department might be the one paying you, a professor might be the one paying you. If you're a teaching assistantship like I am, it's the department. If you're a research assistantship, it's the professors. Once you've decided, okay, these are the schools I want to go to, these are the schools I want to shoot for, I advise anybody, start contacting possible professors. The reason why I'm saying this is because at the end of the day, even if you want a graduate teaching assistantship, they're going to sit down and decide, okay, we'll give this person, we'll not give this person. You want your name to be familiar to a couple of them at least to say, okay, I actually like this person and, I've seen this person's profile, it looks interesting and all of that. So I'll say, start emailing professors as early as possible with your research interest. Some of the things Lutana has said, I have done this. The email you send is like a short precept of your SOP, the research part of your SOP. Just give them punchlines. I finished with the first class, this is my research interest. I looked through your profile. You've done this research, it looks interesting to me. I think I'll be a good addition to your team. I would like to discuss with you further on this. Just send those emails to as many professors as you can. I see some people just say, Karen, I sent email to 3 professors. I didn't get any feedback. I'm tired. Me, I sent emails to over 70 professors. So start emailing, right? I gave my brother a target of 3 professors every day. Start emailing those professors in potential schools you want to go to. If you get response for them before you get admission, fine and good. Yeah, I know one of my friends I'm mentoring for this process. He has 3 offers from 3 different schools. If you get it after, fine and good. But one thing I'll say is do not give up on yourself. Just be aware of the department's timelines, but don't be fixed. Because you see some people saying, one of my friends I was mentoring was like, if he doesn't get a feedback from a professor, he's not going to pay application fees. I did that as well. I needed some green lights to say, okay, I'm going to invest my money. But you should also be mindful of time. There are schools that I didn't contact any professor, I didn't say anything. I just went ahead and I applied, and I got admission and I got funding. But I mean, I'm not there now. So there's not a time so that you have to get research assistantship before your admission. Some people do, and that's because they start emailing professors way ahead of time, way ahead of timelines. LinkedIn is a great resource platform. Discuss with people. You know, if you see people that have gone to, a lot of people tell me, oh, how do you do your dual degree? How do you do this? You know, just have heads up. You know, people ask me, what's your recommendation? Do you recommend I apply for this program in your school? Do you recommend I apply for research assistantship with data science in my school? Of course, I'll tell you no, because data science is a new program and they don't have funding, as much funding as, for instance, petroleum engineering. That's one of the best programs in my school. So these are some of the things you need to know ahead of time. And, you know, it's not cast in stone. One doesn't come before the other, but just know that, you know, if you decide to do your master's in the US, you have to do your due diligence. There's no, except if you have the money. It's expensive. So if you have the money, I mean, you can just, but if not, you have to do your due diligence. There's no hard and fast rule to it. You have to do the work.
All right, Karen, thank you for that explanation. Lotadna, are you there? Can you throw some light to what she has said, please, regarding
Sorry,
securing.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, regarding securing graduate assistant role, please. I know you are one as well, so please let's hear from you.
Yeah, I think the short answer is you're going to have to end up taking a lot of shots before you find the one that eventually hits the targets. I think in my own time I sent more than 40 emails. I contacted more than 40 professors, and I contacted professors in US, in Canada, and I think few in Australia. For me, I knew like, okay, this was the countries I wanted to go to. Okay, this was the countries I wanted to go to. So once I knew like, okay, these were the countries I was targeting, the next thing was to look at, okay, what course in particular do I want to go for? Now, like Karen said about something like data science or MBA, is very hard now. Keyword is very hard, not impossible. It can be very hard to get funding for because they are very hot courses, right? It's not just that they are new, they are very, very hot. Like you're asking for funding, someone is telling them that they can pay for that they want to pay for everything, and the person's profile is equally very, very strong. So it can be hard to get funding for certain people. I know that did data science, for instance, at my school, they paid at least for their first year. They had to pay for their tuition at least for the first year before they were able to get some kind of assistantship. So bear in mind that some courses in some schools might be less funded than some. And that's why you have to do your research. When I was with time, one thing I found out later was, particularly for PhD, when you're searching for schools, for instance, when you get to a school's website and they tell you that all our students or all our PhD students once admitted get funded, if you look at your profile and you're confident enough, please just apply. Because literally all you have to do for such a department is to get admitted and you're sure you get funding. Okay, so but that's usually the first step. Find out the schools that interest you. Okay, for this course I'm interested in, these are the schools that offer it. There's also something else as well, like you might be interested in one course. You may find fewer schools that offer specifically that course, but there are like what I call like proxy courses. So courses that are really like offshoots of that one, or tie or relate to that particular course you're interested in strongly. I'll give an example. I think I had someone contact me that they were looking for master schools that offer masters in sustainable energy systems, for instance. And I was like, okay, you might not find specifically masters in sustainable energy systems, but you might find masters in energy, you might find masters in sustainability, you might find masters in offshore engineering, ocean engineering. You might find masters in different programs that you can link to precisely the one you're looking for. One contacted me about masters in international studies or something. I was like, okay, you could find opportunities for that, or you could search for proxy courses like foreign and literacy courses. You can find for courses around global economy, or politics or something. Like, essentially, it's like there's a family name and there might be several other courses that could be linked to that. So that's usually the first thing. Find the university, know the course you wanna go for, find the university, and then next step, especially for PhDs, masters also, but most critically for PhDs, go to the specific department offering that course and look through the profile of the professors. Now, for PhDs in particular, your admission is going to be for most schools. Now, not for all schools. I've seen schools that give admission even when you don't have an advisor and give you funding, at least for your first year. So for most schools though, you would have to start contacting professors, and that is really as simple as, let's say in petroleum engineering, I would say like there are like 4 major pillars. There's reservoir engineering, there's drilling engineering, there's production engineering, and formation evaluation. So once you go to the department of petroleum engineering, once you look at the research interest of professors, you can basically classify, okay, who is a reservoir engineering person, who is a production engineering person, who is a wells engineering person, and who is a formation evaluation. So once you look at them and their research interest, then you find the ones that align the most to you. My personal recommendation is find 3 to 5 professors in each department. That's my personal recommendation. And the reason is that in the end, you might end up finding up to 10 to 15 professors. 10 to 15 professors, 10 to 15 schools, sorry, 3 to 5 professors. That should bring it to more than 50 professors to contact. This is really where the work is, contacting the professors, because I advise against using generic emails to contact them. You can have customized emails that relate to your interest to 1 or 2 of their research papers. Like, just try to understand what they're doing. And in some cases, like in most cases, like, show that you have some ideas of different ways that they could have taken that work in that email. So that's really what you do in the email, contact professors. If you have a lot of money, if your budget for application is huge, then you can look at those schools that are like guaranteed funding and schools that you really want to go to, even if you don't have a professor that said yes, and apply, fine. But if you have limited funding, like I did when I was applying, I applied to schools where I had like a professor give me a strong yes, like, hey, I really like your profile, please apply. Like, the schools that gave me those kind of responses were the schools I applied to. And what did I do? When I sent those emails, I had about 5 papers then after my undergrad. When I sent those emails, I took one paper that I knew was very, very good. Like, you have papers and you have the ones that you just build this particular paper, you just believe this paper so much. So I took one paper I knew that was very, very good. I attached it in that email. Then I attached my CV as well. And bear in mind, the CV you use for grad school won't exactly be the same you would use for job applications, right? That's also something that you guys should also be aware of. And then I attached a short document, just like a 1-page document describing my research experience. This research experience I'm talking about, part of it was my undergraduate project. But you describe, because the thing is, for most US schools in particular, undergraduates are not required to write a project. They're not required to write a project. So when you're telling them you did a research as an undergraduate, it's already like, okay, wow, that's interesting. How much more if you publish that project? That means you did something really good. So I put like a paragraph describing that, and then the work I said I did with the professor, with the lecturer after I graduated. So these are like really how I did it, and send those emails. Then based on the positive responses, I chose the schools to apply to. And those are the schools that I eventually got into, and then I picked one. So yeah, it's literally, I think I have like 3 to 4, 5 persons already confirmed to come into the US this year, just by going through this method. One last comment I would make, particularly for those that are going for masters. From what I've noticed, from the trend I've noticed in the US, it's harder to get funding for masters in the top schools. It's harder. And it's easier to actually get master's funding for schools that are not like top. Now, when I say top, it doesn't mean Harvard or Princeton or Duke. Now, there is a Harvard for every degree. Harvard has the big name, but you might come to something like petroleum engineering or chemistry. Harvard may not be the best. So there is a Harvard for every specific degree. And those schools that are like Harvard for those particular degrees from what I've noticed, again, it's not impossible, but from what I've noticed, they rarely give funding to masters. They mostly reserve their funding for PhDs because they get a lot of applicants already. A lot of very good applicants that are willing to pay for masters. So they mostly reserve their funding for PhDs. But I've noticed that the schools that are not like the top of the chart for that particular course, they tend to willingly give master scholarships a lot. So that's also something to bear in mind when you're applying. So those are kind of my tips. Yeah, I'll be happy to provide more should there be questions on that. Thank you. Sorry it took so long. I think I did. Sorry.
Okay, thank you, Lutana. So this program was slated for 2 hours, and we are still in part 1, and we have part 2. Okay, let's see how it goes. Okay, so currently we are streaming this on YouTube. So if your friends cannot access the program via our Zoom link, please kindly share the YouTube link on your status so that they can see it and join via YouTube. And we have a couple of questions everywhere on the YouTube and here in Zoom. So panelists, please help us answer some questions in your chat, because we have a lot of questions to ask and we can't, cover the whole questions today within 2 hours. Remember, we have second part of this program. Thank you, Lutana, for that explanation. And that will take me to my fourth question. So my fourth question I have, so number 4 question is, when writing cold mails to professors, what should stand out in your mail? I'm sure they've all touched it. Faith talked about it, Karen and Lutana, but just, Karen, can you just, Faith, please, let's hear from Faith. What are the things to emphasize when writing a personal statement, cold mails to professors?
For masters in the UK, you don't need to write a cold email, except it's a research-based master's. And what I did was a general master's. So I do think that Karen and Lutana might be better.
Okay. So sorry if I don't call you often, no, because I don't know you're here, but I think a lot of people here are like STEM-based people. So that's I'm always calling them, but it's fine. But then I'm sure that we still have a lot of people here who are non-STEM people. So, and that's why I will definitely call you to, share your own views so that those ones can learn. And then again, I see a couple of questions. There's no question that is relevant or irrelevant, but please, pending when we get to your questions, please, you can use Google to help yourself. For example, when someone asked if the Chevening scholarship is open, so things like that, please, just help us, and use your Google so that we can also, use the remaining time we have to address other important things that are very important to you as well. Okay, so Karen, let's hear from you, please, briefly. What are the things, that we should focus on when writing cold mails to professors to enable us stand out? Are you there,
Okay,
Karen?
so yes, I'm here. I think we have touched this as well. So I'm just going to be very brief. Just hello, doctor. Don't just say hello, please. Never say just hello. Just call their names. And don't send emails to a professor if you've not looked at their research profile already. Make sure. Let me share a funny experience. Somebody I know sent emails to a professor and he said, oh, I've looked at the master's website, and the professor got back saying, that's the lie. We don't offer graduate courses, so you are lying. That is very bad. Very, very bad. So please look at the professor. Don't just send emails because you want to be trashing out emails. Look at their profile. Someone asked how you look at their profile. I've answered that. Go to their website. The school's website has the professor's profile, their LinkedIn account, their email address, even their phone number at times, their research area. You might even do to their personal website. So do your due diligence, please. If you're not ready to do your due diligence, don't start at all. So look at the professor's website and then you say, hello, Dr. whoever, Dr. XYZ, then you do a brief introduction of yourself. I have a YouTube video where I explain this whole process line by line, so I'm not going to waste time. I am Karen Oche, a Nigerian from, the attended Chevening University. I finished with a first-class degree. You want to give them those punchlines at the beginning. So they're like, okay, this is an interesting candidate. I finished with the first class degree. I've written the GRE. This is my score. I've written the IELTS. Yes, this is my score. I've worked as so, and I am interested in pursuing a graduate degree in your school or your department. Tell them your index terms. At that time, say the time too, in fall 2023, in spring 2023, whichever. And then the next paragraph, you go to say key accomplishments. You don't want to send them a lot of email. You want to say as much as possible so that if I'm scrolling on my phone from just the drop down, I can read enough to get me interested, because we get a lot of emails every day and you want to make sure that your own stands out. Now, you say a little bit about your research profile that ties into what they are doing. I think you kind of mentioned this. And then you conclude with saying, okay, you know, I have attached my CV and transcript or my research proposal, whatever you want to attach. And I will, you know, look forward to discussing with you. I can be reached via email or mobile, just to tell them that you're open for discussions, because some professors want to actually interview with you and get to know you before they decide. A lot of people interview people to say, okay, I want to get to know you, you know, meet my research group, that sort of thing, before they decide to give you funding or not. So just be aware. My YouTube name is my name, Karen Oche. Just search for my name on YouTube and you see I have like lots of this kind of videos if you're really interested about, you know, grad school and all of that. Another thing I want to say, one last tip for sending emails is consider the time difference. At this time, I woke up 5 a.m. this morning to attend this session. You don't want to be sending an email, the professor, that email because it's your lunch break at work. You want to send the email. So if I open my laptop on a Monday morning and I'm seeing your email, I'm not going to read it because I probably have meetings. It's a Monday morning. But like on a Tuesday morning, on a Wednesday morning, on a Friday morning, that's a very good time to send an email. Friday morning in the time where you're sending the emails to. So I know I used to send emails that time, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock every day. I used to like, okay, once it's 2, I'm like, my people have woken, and I'll start sending the emails. So you have to also consider that as well. I'm not saying you'll guarantee you, but you just want to be mindful of these things when sending emails. You don't want to send emails to somebody 12 midnight or very early morning. They're not going to read it. And then emails can pile on your email and then they never see it. So yeah. Chinny, I'm done.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay. Thank you, Karen, thank you for that. And I also know that if you want to send a code mail to a professor, you don't go with yes, I mean, that are used to yes, I mean, it's almost like a cliche. So you want to go with the person's surname. You know, when somebody says, let's say your surname is Eze, and the person says, dear Eze, you know, you want to know who the person really is, you know, just convey your message straight to the point and off you go. Thank you. Then the fifth question here, I'll try to be as fast as possible so that we can finish the questions we have here and move to the second part of this program. Okay, so the fifth question here I have is, how can I get GRE waivers, application fee waivers, IELTS waivers? Please, in 1 minute, Lotana, how can we get these waivers, please?
Okay, in 1 minute.
Yes,
Be in groups where people share resources. Some schools announce when they are giving GRE waivers. I know these past application cycles, some schools specified like, okay, from this date to this date, where, oh, sorry, I'm talking about application fee waivers. Sorry about that. GRE waivers, first thing first is to look at the department website. If a department is waiving GRE or TOEFL, they typically will say it on their website. So that's the first place to check for it. If it's not stated there and you want to ask about it, like look for the email of academic advisor or the professor in charge of their graduate program and contact the professor. There are sample emails as well that you could use for that. You're just trying to say that, okay, these are the things I have, but because of, let's say, I know because of COVID, most schools waived it. But due to COVID, I've not been able to, there was a spike in my country, however you want to explain it. That really is just how you request for, for waivers. And like, one other thing, like, don't be afraid to send those emails, like contact them. Contact the academic advisors. Believe me, they would reply. Worst case scenario, they take maybe 2 days, depending on the volume of emails and the work at hand, but they would reply. So that is how you would get Jerry waivers. Either the school is announcing it on their Twitter page, on their LinkedIn page, or persons that are aware of it are telling you, or you can directly contact the academic advisors to ask. That was 1 minute.
Thank you. Yeah, it's right. Thank you, Lieutenant. So in summary, join group chats where you can get these scholarship opportunities. So we have Young Professional SP Lagos Telegram and WhatsApp group chats, and also we also have a graduate scholarship group chats that is run by Lutana. We are all there and we all post opportunities there. So please just chill. At the end of this program, we will give you all the links to all the group chats so you join, but you have to first start with your membership registration. Who is talking? All right. Okay, so on to the next.
Can you hear me?
Karen, okay, Faith, yeah, please, by all means.
Yes, for the UK, for schools, a lot of schools allow WAEC, but then you can also write to the university and explain that maybe you're working in a professional setting and you use a lot of English. I've seen people who have worked as content writers and, journalists that have used that to get IELTS off. For schools that really insist on that, you can also send them sample writings as well. So basically just email them and say that I work in a professional setting and I use English a lot. You show them your sample works as well. And some schools also allow WAEC because a person also mentioned IELTS. So I just wanted to add that. Yeah.
Hello, Faith, are you there? You hear us? Very important. Okay, Faith, I may have to call you for every question, so I can just give us the UK response to all the questions. Very important. Thank you. Okay, so into the next question, we have is there a timing to waivers? Please, in 30 seconds, Karen, can you help us with that question? Is there a timing to waivers?
Yes, there is. There is timing.
Okay.
Most schools have depends. Like Lieutenant said, watch out for them, and he laughs. It closes first of the because it's an incentive, right? So they have to ginger you. Sorry,
Yeah.
Now they have to urge you to apply. So there is.
Karen, I like the word ginger. This is Nigeria, and we are doing it in a Nigerian way. So please, all the necessary terms that you can use to motivate everybody, please use it. Thank you. Number 7 question here is there age limits for applying for scholarships? Some have, some don't have. But please, in 20 seconds, Faith, give us UK perspective, please.
Okay, so the truth is, even beyond just the UK, I think different scholarships have their requirements. I know that the Rhodes Scholarship has an age limit, I think 27. The Chevening, you have to be at least 18, but the upper limits, there are no limits. So I think most scholarships technically do not have age limits, but there are scholarships that require age limits. So
Hello?
just check the details and you will check it. Because some scholarships actually have age limits.
Thank you. All right, thank you so much, Faith. And that takes me to my 8th question. So, which is are there scholarships for HND graduates seeking admission abroad? There are, but please, Karen, help us with that.
Yes, there are. I mean, it might be more work on your part to do your research, but I have seen with my Tukoko, people that have gotten HND, people that have gotten second class, people that have gotten third class. You just have to be ready to do your due diligence.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Karen.
Chini, let me just chime in a bit on the HND. There's a slight caveat when it's HND. Now, because HND, your own 4-year degree is made up of 2 different degrees, OND and HND. Most schools in the US would say, no, this is not a bachelor's degree. So what they do is they go to do what they call WES evaluation. So they do WES evaluation, they submit their OND and HND, and WES gives them an equivalent document, a document saying that their degree is equivalent to a bachelor's, to a US 4-year bachelor's, and then they use that to apply. So that's the one caveat I know for HND. applicants.
Thank you, Lutana. I've seen a couple of people with HND, and one is in US, one is in UK. I even read one on LinkedIn. All right. So to my ninth question. Are there scholarships for students that graduated with third class? Yes, there are scholarships for those that graduated with third class. Please, I won't talk this question. I know Karen, Lutana, Faith has talked about it if you were listening to them. Okay, 10th question, please. Sorry, we don't have time. And we are trying to, meet up with the second part. Okay, for my 10th question, which careers get more scholarship and more funding? Which careers get more scholarship and more funding? Faith, let's say your own response, please. For UK, for our future UK applicants.
To be very honest, I'm not sure that that's the right question that you should ask yourself, because that means that you would only look for scholarships that follow a particular career, and then you're basically going with the wind. I know that certain courses tend to be funded a lot, because I know that from the UK perspective, there are a lot of scholarships for like development-based, scholars and things like that. But I think that once you have a clear sense of this is the course I want to do, just like people that have maybe a 2-2 HND, you have to be willing to do the work for the particular course that you want. It might be harder, but you have to be strategic. So I would say that just focus more on the course that you want to study, and as opposed to just saying they can't fund this one or they can fund this one. But yeah, that's what I just think. But I know development tends to be funded a lot, but I don't want you to go and do development when you're in creative arts. Focus more on the one that you're truly passionate about and build yourself, build your experience, build your accolades. And even if it's only one person they want in that field, let that person be you. In my set, I think I was the only person that got creative enterprise. Most people were development, media, and different things. So build yourself to be the best in your field. And I think that should be your focus. But I can let Karen and Lutana talk from the US perspective. So
okay. Yeah. In 10 seconds, Lutana, please, can you just give us your response on this? Because I've been mandated to move to part 2 of this program. We don't have time, and we just have to do that. So what we're going to do is that we're going to upload the questions, and our speakers will do justice to them online. So we share the recording, right? That's the link, so that everybody can, go to, we'll send mails, don't worry. But we just have to move to the second part of this program. But continue sending your questions via the chat so that they can answer it while listening to a second part of this program. Thank you. Lutana, over to you.
I can't recall the question. Sorry, can you just?
Okay. I'll retreat. Okay, so the question is, that's number 10. Which careers get more scholarship and more funding? Okay. That's the question, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Faith. Not the kind of thing you should be thinking about. I think one thing I've seen is that one thing I would say is this: less than 5% of scholarship opportunities are advertised. So that is one thing I would say. So whatever your major is, whatever course you're interested in, I still recommend that know the course, find your universities, know the professors interested in working with, and contact them. It is less than 5 or less than 10% that will actually post on Twitter or LinkedIn or anywhere that they are looking for PhD or master students. Many professors really do not have the time and will not post it. So don't tell yourself that, oh, your degree or this may not have opportunities. Just do that research and know the schools and professors and contact them.
Thank you, Lutana. Okay, so I'll be ending part 1 program here. We'll be stopping here so we can go through the bio of the other panelists. Please stay tuned and continue asking your question via the chats while our panelists will keep responding, please. Audrey, are you there? Okay. All right. Our next panelist for today is Mrs. Oluwafunmilayo Ladepo, who is a graduate of architecture from Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. She completed her master's in 2001 and have since then worked in a BJ, that's Abuja. She began the design and construction industry and worked as an architect for a construction firm for 3 years, after which she worked with a renovation company as project architect until she joined the British High Commission in April 2006. At BHC, she worked with UK, that's in UK Visa and Immigration for 13 years, and out of those, she was a manager of a team for 7 years. In July 2019, she joined the Chevening network, where she has the privilege of managing the selection processes annually. The most rewarding experience so far has been the opportunity to proffer ideas on the best possible engagement strategies for Chevening alumni. Welcome, Mrs.
Thank you very much, Chini. Thank you for that great introduction. I'm really, really excited to be here. It's been great listening to Karen, to Faith, and to Lutana about their different experiences in the US and in the UK. So for me, I'm just going to be giving a brief overview of what the Chevening Scholarship is about. So much can be found on the website. So I would like to encourage everyone after here to go to the website and do a lot of research, because there's a limit to how much we can discuss here. So I'll be trying to share a few slides here just to summarize what the Chevening Scholarship is. I'll share my screen. Please, Chini, let me know once you can see it.
All right, please go ahead.
Can you tell me if you can see it yet?
Oh, so it's loading. Yeah, I can see it now.
Fantastic. Okay, so I'll just be talking in brief about what the scholarship is, what it is, or who it is aimed at, who is eligible to apply, and what the offer looks like, and then a little bit about our Chevening alumni, and then we'll talk about the application procedures, the application tips, and interview tips for those who are preparing to attend interviews in the next few weeks or so. And finally, what the timelines look like. So please bear with me. So for the scholarship, it is funded by the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office and also partner organizations. And it is aimed at potential leaders, people who have strong academic backgrounds and who have great interpersonal skills. So that's what we're looking for in Chevening. As I said, it's for 1 year. You cannot do anything more than that. Even if it's 13 months, it's not eligible. So you have to only look for courses that are for 1 year only. And we are looking for people who are passionate about making change, who are ambitious, who have great careers and are great influencers. So that's what Chevening looks for. Our eligibility criteria, Faith talked about it a little when she was speaking. You have to be above 18 years old. You have to come from a Chevening eligible country. So there are 160 countries, and fortunately, Nigeria is one of those countries. You shouldn't have dual citizenship with the UK. You can have dual citizenship with other countries, but not with the UK. So that's one of our eligibility requirements. You should have a minimum of 2 years working experience. And the working experience could be voluntary work, it could be full-time work, it could be internship. And as always, the question people ask is NYSC eligible? It is eligible. So those are the kind of work experiences we're looking for. You should have a minimum of 2 years. And when we're calculating that, we are looking at 2,800 hours if we're looking at approximately 35 hours in a week. So in a year, you have 1,400 hours. In 2 years, you have 2,800 hours. English language used to be a Chevening requirement, but it isn't anymore. But you need to check with your individual universities to ensure that they do not require English language. So for all the IELTS and all the different exams that you need to write to ensure that you are strong enough in English, best thing to do is to check with the university if they would require that. You should also have an undergraduate degree. We have the question about HND. Usually it's very, or a little bit more difficult for someone with an HND to get the scholarship. But we have had examples of people who have had the scholarship through HND, but they have to have built up their career and have so much to show to be able or to enable them to get the scholarship. Finally, you have to have an unconditional offer to one out of the 3 universities that you'll be applying to during your application period. So usually you start the process of reaching out to the universities from the onset, before you even start the application form, before you start completing the form, because you have to have an unconditional offer letter by July of every year. So for example, for those of our applicants that would be using the website between August and November, you would have started looking out to universities from that time, but you would want to have an unconditional offer letter by July of 2023. Yeah. So those are our eligibility criteria. The offer is beautiful. When I say the Chevening offer, we're talking about what you can get through the scholarship. So it's a fully funded scholarship. Everything is paid for. You get a monthly stipend. You get your visas paid for. You get your air ticket paid for to go and to come back. COVID-19 testing last year was covered by the scholarship. So that was something that was on offer, as well as attending networking events or anything that the Secretariat is organizing in the UK, you can attend, paid for fully by the Chevening Scholarship. So all of that is part of our offer. Our Chevening alumni, we have over 50,000 plus alumni globally. And then in Nigeria specifically, we're climbing from 1,300 onwards, because every year we have our scholars who come back and join the alumni network. So they have the advantage of mixing with various alumni and building their careers as they go along. So that's about the summary of what Chevening covers. I'll go into the application procedures briefly. So it's up there on the screen, what you need to have when you are completing your application form. You have to have all these details ready, your contact details, your personal details, your educational background, your work experience is very important, because you need to help us to understand what your journey has been like. And then for your references, you need to just highlight who your reference will be. You don't have to have reference letters at the point of submission, but if you have them ready, you can submit them. But there is a deadline to submit your references by February of the following year. And then you should be ready to write 4 essays. And the essays are on leadership, networking, your career plan, and studying in the UK. Studying in the UK is an essay that asks about why you've chosen the university you want to go to and the course that you want to study. Why have you chosen that particular course? So you have to be ready to write these 4 essays. So on our application tips, I remember Faith saying this: do not lie, write your own story. Tell your story as it is, because if you are shortlisted for interview, you have to tell the same story again, and you have to be as convincing as possible. So if someone else is writing your story for you, I assure you, when you get to interview, you would not be able to tell the story with confidence, with full confidence. Read the questions properly in your application form, and you can always go back and forth to the application. So you can work offline, and then you can come and paste your responses onto the form, as you go along. Your answers should be clear and concise, because your application is going to be looked at by a global assessment committee in the UK, and they're going to be looking for the strongest applications that speak to them. So you have to make sure from the onset that you have very strong essays. They should be clear, they should be concise, there should be no grammatical errors. These are the kind of things, so you need to check yourself, or you ask other people to look over your essays before you submit. Applying for the university courses on time, I mentioned that earlier on. It's very important that you start corresponding with universities from the onset. You've heard a lot from Lutana, from Karen, from Faith, talking about the relevance of reaching out to different lecturers or professors on time, and always be mindful of the deadline. What do I want to highlight here? Okay, I'd just like to highlight here about researching the priority areas in Nigeria. Is very, very important. When I say the priority areas, I mean UK's priority areas in Nigeria. Knowing what the UK government is doing in this space in Nigeria is very important. So looking for UK in Nigeria on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, we constantly post the different things that interest us. So from that, you can be able to tie some of your essays with some of our priorities if you are in those fields. But if you are not, then there are so many other things to tie your essays with if you want to. There's the global SDGs, the UN social development goals. Those are also very important. And then we know that so many things are happening all across the world. There are so many challenges that we're facing in different aspects of life. So if you feel that you can solve a problem in any of these areas, then by all means, go ahead and tie your essays to these. But it has to be what you are passionate about, the change that you want to see is what you should be writing about, not someone else's passion. So it's your mindset that is important. Faith mentioned this earlier on as well. And then visit our website for as much information as possible. So I'll just give a few interview tips. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I know that from the last week in March, we're going to be having Chevening interviews across Nigeria. We're starting with Enugu, and then we're moving to Abuja, and then Lagos. So those 3 locations, we're about to start interviews. So before interviews, it's very, very important to prepare. When I say prepare, I mean spend time understanding the essays that you had already submitted. The fact that you have been shortlisted for interview means that you submitted a very, very strong application. They liked your essay, but they want to speak to you now and confirm that you are who you say you are, and confirm that you understand what it is that you think you are passionate about solving. So you have to soak yourself in your essays. If you need to do any further research, then take some time out and do some research, because follow-up questions might come. I mean, they're going to be asking you about the 4 essays that you've submitted. So it's not going to be anything outside what you already know. But you need to be ready to answer any follow-up questions that any of the interviewees might have. They would want to ask you questions about your project because they want to understand whether you are the kind of person that they want to invest all of this money into, so that when you come back to Nigeria, they would want to continue that relationship with you so that the UK government can work with you to make a positive change in Nigeria. So that's the major reason why you need to prepare and soak yourself in your interview, in your essays before the interview period. Mock interviews are also very good. If you're not able to attend any mock interviews, if you're not able to get any friends or family to sit down and ask you questions, you can stand in front of a mirror and talk to yourself, say your essays, say them from your heart. Do not cram them, because we want them to come as naturally as possible. We're trying to see how you can have a conversation with us when you come for interview. We don't want you to just sit down there like a robot and just reel out your essay step by step. Yes, it's good that from the onset, you use maybe an organized manner in writing your essay. You usually would follow the STAR approach, where you have the situation, and then you have the task that that took place, and then the action points would be what you did as an individual in that particular example. And in this essay, you are trying to highlight your strengths. You're trying to sell yourself. Karen kept on saying, blowing your own trumpet. I say that all the time. This is the time for you to blow your trumpet, to highlight your achievements, to highlight your strengths. And remember that you have to talk about yourself and not what everybody else did in that example. So making sure that you have mock interviews helps a lot, because it means that you can sit down with people who will really give you constructive feedback and will tell you the truth about how you did in that interview. Then there's so much on social media. You can see videos on YouTube, so many. As far as Chevening is concerned, I know that there are so many scholars who have uploaded videos where they have shared their experiences about what it's been like for them at interview. So, I mean, the job is for you to do your own research and to find out as much information as you can. So at the interview, first of all, you have to come out looking very confident. You have to dress well, and you have to be comfortable in whatever you wear, because we don't want you sitting down there and sweating and not being able to focus on the questions. And as interview panels, we have been trained also to be able to be patient and to listen to you and to ask you questions and repeat questions if you didn't get it the first time. So if you didn't get the question, don't be afraid to ask and say, I'm so sorry, I didn't get that. Can you ask that question again? It's very, very important for you to be confident enough to ask when you have not heard the question, so that you don't go about talking about something else when they're asking you something else. And also when you are citing your examples, it makes sense for you to cite examples that will highlight your strengths, that will show how you performed in a particular situation. So when you're thinking about the interview, remember the examples that you submitted on your application form, and you might have had a few things that developed after you submitted the application, because the applications end in November. So something else might have come up before interview. It would be good to chip those in as well during the interview. And then being very confident, being able to ask questions, as I said, and using I and not we during the interview. Very, very important to highlight yourself and not other people. So I think for the interview tips, I think that will be all that I have to say about those. I would want to encourage you all to read more about what I've discussed, because as I said, this is just a brief overview. So I'll just share the timelines with you. I saw some questions in the chat bar about the applications, when they will be open. So last year they opened on the 3rd of August. So I am assuming they're going to open the same dates this year, but it might just change slightly. Could be the 2nd, it could be the 4th, but usually it's open for 3 months. So it's a 3-month window. It was only during the COVID era that we had, or the COVID pandemic, that we had a two-month window. That was an exceptional time, but usually it's open for 3 months. And then the applications are sifted against eligibility criteria. And that's why I said it's very important for you to identify if you are eligible in the first place. Faith was saying something about maybe waiting to be sure that you are eligible before you apply, even if you have to wait for a year. But then there's also the other side to it, is that you keep trying even if you've been rejected before, because you do not know whether it is this time that you didn't apply that you would have been selected. So you keep trying and trying, because with everything in life, you have to put in your best and you have to work hard. And then you have to be patient and assume that, well, this might be my time. So let me put in my best now. And hopefully at this point, you will be selected. So that is how the cycle goes. So by January and February, the applications are shortlisted for interview. And that's what we do in the British High Commission. We use our 2 major offices, the Lagos office and the Abuja office, to go through a long list that is sent by the Global Assessment Committee. That Global Assessment Committee is made up of different reviewers. We have the academic reviewers and we have regional reviewers that take a look at all the applications that are submitted. Last year, we had 7,500 applications that were sifted through the Secretariat, that were submitted, by Nigerians alone. And I think 300 and something were sent to us. And then we have now submitted a list of 172. Those are the ones that have been sifted for interview. So, I mean, you have gone this far, so it's a really big deal that you've gone this far. So you just have to be confident and believe in yourself and tell the story as you wrote it in your application form. So after the applicants are shortlisted for interview, we now have the emails going out to inform them to choose dates. And then the period for interviews is between March and May. So for us in Nigeria right now, we're starting our interviews on the 29th of March in Enugu, and then we finish by the end of April in Lagos. Then in June, the interview results are announced. By July, every person that has been accepted on the award must have submitted their unconditional offer. Now, this is a very, very serious matter in the sense that if you think that you have conditional offers and you sit back and relax, it can get very dangerous, because if you wait until it's getting close to July and you do not get that unconditional offer, then unfortunately, you would be rejected at that point, even though you had been offered with the award. And then we now start looking at our reserve candidates to see if they already have an unconditional offer. So it's very, very important to keep on corresponding with the universities and make sure that you have that offer letter before July of 2023. And then the cycle starts again. Our scholars leave for the UK between September and October every year. So that is the end of my brief summary of what Chevening is. And I'll be happy to take any questions if anyone has any. Thank you.
Thank you for this wonderful presentation. And I'll probably take like the first 3 questions in the chat. Okay, so we have one already, and the person said, how many people get selected in the final stage?
Okay, so yes, that depends on many factors. So the allocation for Nigeria is usually about 38, but it changes every year, depends on our budget. But then what happens is we have what we call a clawback. This clawback system is, you know, sometimes people are offered more than one scholarship. So you would find some people are offered Erasmus, they are offered Chevening, they are offered so many scholarships, even some scholarships in the UK, so in the US. So they decide that, okay, they want to withdraw. They are not interested anymore. Like, okay, so that means that we have one slot open for someone else. So what happens is they collate all of these withdrawals from all over the world, and then they look at the size of the country. So for example, Nigeria is over 200 million. So we are large. And so they usually allocate more numbers for reserves. So once they choose how many are, you know, going to be in the reserve category, we add that to our allocation. So for last year, we had 51 people who left for the UK. We had 50 scholars and we had 1 fellow. Does that answer your question?
Thank you so much. Of course, it did. And I have another question here. Okay, I think they're still coming up with your questions. But let me start.
I think Faith has done a good job and answered most of the Chevening questions. That's why I don't have any questions myself.
Yeah, she did a great job. Thank you so much, Ma. And I don't know, maybe you can drop your email address with us so that those that have other pending questions can, you know, be able to reach out to you. How about that?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay, but then if you actually pay attention to our presentation. Okay, hold on. Okay, who is that? Is that Karen?
It's Beto. I have a question for our program.
Okay. Please go ahead if I continue.
So what do you think is the biggest mistake that people should avoid making? No. There's actually someone that sent me a message directly. I think that's a question you should answer. The person said, what should he wear for the interview? And he was saying he's not sure of traditional or corporate wears. So that one, I said, I'm not sure. Depends
either of the two. Honestly, either of the two. It depends on what you're comfortable in. Honestly, nobody's looking at what you're wearing in that sense. What I mean is if you are not exposed, overexposed, you know, nobody is going to be concerned about that. But we want you to look professional. And traditional actually looks really nice if you decide to wear that. It's the way you carry yourself. It's your whole carriage that matters, really.
True.
Okay,
don't wear anything too tight and then you'll be sweaty under your armpits and it's now showing and everything. Just try and then arrive at the venue early so that you can take time, relax. And if you're sweating, you calm down, drink water if they offer you water. Even when you get into the interview room, drink the water that is offered. Is a good way of you distracting yourself and making yourself comfortable in your chair.
I think people are tired because they are sending me direct messages. Okay, so I'll be reading them for you. Sorry. Someone said,
hold on. Sorry, I have 2 questions that came in while you were talking. Let's just take it, please. Okay, so somebody said, can a 2-2 graduates apply for Chevening scholarship?
Yes. So as I said, you know, you have to back up everything with your career, your work experience. So all of them are tied together. So when we're looking at applications, we're looking at it holistically. We're looking at every aspect of you. And also the way you tell your story, the passion with which you tell your story helps us to see that you are actually trying to solve a problem. So it's everything encompassing in one place. That's how we look at it. We don't try and limit, oh, she had a 2-1 here. You might have a 2-1 and you might come to the interview and you would have a freeze whereby you will not even be able to talk about yourself. So you have to marry everything together.
Okay. Okay, Faith, let's take from your end. Maybe 1 or 2 questions from your end, because I still have other questions here.
Okay, I already even started answering them. But one of them says, is it possible to enroll in my third choice university even after having unconditional offers from my first and second universities?
Is that question to you or to me?
I'm reading it to you actually.
Okay,
so
okay. Sorry about that. I was not paying attention that well. Can you just repeat that question, please?
Is it possible to enroll in my third choice university even after having unconditional offers from my first and second universities?
So, I mean, it would depend on which one is your best choice. If you have 3 unconditional offer letters, then you would want to let your program officer know, because as soon as you are awarded with the scholarship, you would have started a correspondence with your program officer UK. That's the program officer that will be allocated to you throughout your time in the UK. So it is at that point that you would begin to negotiate with them or discuss with them about which one you think would be the best suited one for you. So, I mean, it's not all the time that people get unconditional offers from all the 3. But if you do get that, then that's brilliant. It's now up to you to sit down and decide what you really want to do. And then you let them know what you want.
All right, thank you, ma'am. I have 2 questions I want to read out from here. So someone asked, is a Nigerian already living in the UK eligible for Chevening scholarship?
So it depends on what they're doing in the UK. If they're there on holiday, it's fine that they can start their application from there. I mean, we've had a few times where we've had to have virtual interviews because the person is either based in the US doing some fellowship or, but the condition that we have, the 2-year condition that we're talking about, is by the time you go to the UK, you complete your studies. You can see Faith is back. Faith came back to Nigeria, her country. And that is what we want. Because when she was telling us her story about her career plan, she talked about her short-term plan, she talked about her mid-term plan, she talked about her long-term plan. And all of them were supposed to be done in Nigeria. So ours is for you to come back after you have finished your studies. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can apply for Chevening, but you need to tell us that, okay, this is where I am presently, but I intend to go back home. And we have to be able to be assured that you plan to go back home. Otherwise, it will be a little bit more difficult to offer you with the award.
All right, okay. Someone said, but I think the question has been answered already. The person said, can I change my course on the day on the interview? And the person,
yes, you can. Yes, you can. So, but you see, when you're going to change your course, you have to be very careful about changing the course, because at that point, the panel is going to grill you. Because the same way you have explained to them in your application form that this is why I chose this course, this is the module I liked, this is what. So they're going to ask you those questions about this new course that you are choosing, because it's not going to be that easy. You cannot just give us 3 courses in your form and then you come with another one bouncing in. No. You have to prove to us that, okay, you have done your research even on this course.
Okay, ma. Another question.
There is no exception for the 2 years return back home. There is none at all. I've seen the question.
Yeah, you're right. Because most students don't want to come back, to be honest.
So that is why the last slide that Faith put up, she shared other types of scholarships. So I mean, it depends on you really. If you want the prestigious Chevening scholarship and all that it has to offer, then please, you have to meet the requirements. Then you have to, the conditions that you agreed that you were going to sign to. That means you will come back. You will have to come back. That's just the agreement. So I know I keep saying this jackpot thing. This is Nigeria. Chini, you said we are free to speak like this, Abi.
Yes,
Everybody
please.
wants to jackpot from Nigeria. But honestly, you cannot use the Chevening scholarship to jackpot because you have to come back.
Oh, thank you so much. So a couple of you are asking for her email address. Well, she already said you can go to the website and absorb all the information there. And of course, go through people's stories and how the journey has been with the Chevening scholarship. So you can do that as well if that's what you're looking for. Okay, thank you so much, Ma. And you really worked with our time. Like you did your presentation within 10 minutes. Thank you, Ma, for keeping to time. Okay, so that would take us to the remaining the few things on the agenda for today. We have announcements and a couple of things, like both of things. Okay, I'll be calling on Caleb Olubashe to give us his vote of thanks.
Thank you, Chini, and thank you to our highly esteemed panel of speakers. I've learned a lot myself, and a whole host of people are here, and they've learned quite a lot. And I want to thank everybody, the organizers, Janet, Odion, our ABLE section chair that came up with this beautiful idea of the scholarship fair. We thank you. And I believe that all that we've learned today is going to help us to chart a very clear course for our next level, or our next level in our career or in our life, or in our life paths, okay? I want to say once again, thank you to the panel of speakers, and we hope to keep communicating with you. I believe your LinkedIn profiles are there, and we can always reach out to you after now. Thank you all. Thank you to the audience. I'll return it back to Chini. You can close the event.
All right. Okay, let me thank everyone, starting from the panelists. Thank you for making our time to be here out of your busy schedules. We are grateful and we sincerely appreciate. And I want to believe that our people here, the audience, had a good time with all of you. Okay, so I'll be going to our upcoming activities. So this is a month of women around the globe, and we have a couple of activities for you all. With respect to diversity and inclusion, we have one for unconscious bias, a major disabler of diversity. Then we have another one on gender diversity today for a sustainable tomorrow, the Nigerian context. So please, I urge you to register for this program and attend the program. We have a lot of stakeholders who would do justice to this program. So find the dates and make sure you attend this program. Thank you. Over to the next slide, please, Ojan. Yes, how do I be a member? How can I join SPE? What's happening here? If I were you, I'll just screenshot my screen. The numbers are there for you. Contact Odion Okosin or Bianuji Bukwe or Chineyem or Haji. So these are the following social handles. Just make sure you follow all of them, right? And so that you can get our subsequent updates for all our activities. So just screenshot your screen and then get all these details. So once you reach out to any of these persons, we'll add you to a group chat, we'll send you a mail with respect to your membership and requirements. And please, it's not only for engineers, non-STEM people are welcome, please. And then we have different sections. So if you're not in Lagos, but still want to be an SPE member, please go online. We have Port Harcourt section, we have ABJ section, then we have Benin section. So please, wherever you are, you can be a member. So, but if you're in Lagos, just reach out to any of these persons. And again, if I see you in Lagos and you have not started applying for your for your scholarship, for your admissions, I'll have a serious problem with you because we took time to put up this program together. Thank you everyone for attending, and we look forward to seeing you guys to our next event. Thank you.
Okay, Chindi, can we take a group photograph? Can everyone turn on their videos as so that we just take a group photograph? Okay. Okay, can you turn on your video if you're in a comfortable position? We'll just this will not take it will not take a lot of time. As you turn on your video, please do decide to turn on your smile as well. Yeah, that's quite okay. Charity begins at home, right? So let me turn on my video as well. Where is my video? Is my face? Okay, I'm here. Okay. Okay, so I'll just go click it right away. Let's just smile and I'll just do my screenshot. Thank you. I think Lotana has the best smile so far. Okay, that's fine. Okay, thank you. That will be all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.